Welcome to episode 7 of Two Guys, One Sport. My name is Chris.
I'm George. You know, it's been 7 episodes of us doing this. Lucky number 7. I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to be a eventful one. We've got a lot of heavy discussion topics on the table for us today.
Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
I mean, oh God, not again. We just started, damn it. And we're already having your mic cut out again.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, really? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. Apparently Google Hangouts has been doing some changes, so we're rolling with the punches once again with the possibility of technical issues.
We'll just go until they tell us to stop talking.
Yeah. And we'll smile our way through it like my avatar, Mr. Akira Tozawa, does.
Yeah, and maybe smiling like my avatar, Mr. Jushin Liger, but you can't tell with the mask in the way.
Yeah.
I imagine he's smiling at one of the Bucks, though, while he's giving him the finger.
Yeah, of course. I mean, underneath the mask, he's got to love everything they're doing, but, you know, the benefit of having the mask means he doesn't have to school his face like he's actually angry at them.
Which, incidentally, I think it's a testament to how good of a wrestler he is that he can convey emotion while wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Because that's not easy. Because you look at I don't mean to get too sidetracked, but you look at Sami Zayn versus El Generico, and I argue that Sami Zayn is better than El Generico because he has the ability to convey emotion without the mask. Whereas someone like Liger can do it just with his body language, just with his ring ability, because he's handicapped by not using his facial expressions to convey emotion. Yeah. So it's kind of a testament to how good the man under the mask is that he's making it work after 30 years, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who knows if it's still the same guy? Nobody really knows if it's still the same guy. There's all the speculation in the world that there's somebody different under the mask, you know, from time to time, because you know 30 years of wear and tear on the body is enough,
especially for a littler individual.
Yeah. So,
but he's one of the all-time greats. We're lucky to have him, and I love that he's still going strong. I love when he does his commentary. He puts the headset over the mask. Yeah, but it's out and everything.
It's the different mask too.
Yeah, it's like a little smaller one.
Yeah. So this week, we're calling this week's episode Flagrant System Error because we're going to be talking about something that has been a flagrant system error for the better part of 3 years now, the Monday Night Raw main event scene. And there's a lot to talk about there. So it's going to be a very interesting and in-depth show. And we're also going to give a little bit of a discussion of the upcoming events for Payback and Backlash, what we have on the card so far. But as always, we'll start with our matches of the week. Do you want to start, or should I?
Sure, I'll start. This is a fun one for me because when I go to the gym and I jump on the elliptical, I do 40 minutes on the elliptical. I usually put something on from the network, and I just go to town, either an old match or a special or something, or ride along or something along those lines, because it really kind of helps the cardio go much faster as opposed to just listening to the same songs over and over again. So I'm on the elliptical, and I put on one of my all-time favorite matches and one of the greatest matches in the history of the WWE, the WrestleMania 13 submission match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. For those of you who don't know, first of all, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you watch this match in its entirety. Cannot come with enough endorsements. Secondly, Austin and Hart were feuding. Austin was still nominally the heel. Hart was still nominally the face, but they were both starting to branch in opposite directions. This match is great. So great. It's a blood feud. So they don't lock up. They're throwing hands at each other right away. They're fighting in the crowd. Ken Shamrock is the special referee. He's trying to keep order. Austin bleeds like a stuck pig after getting hit on the stairs. He's just gushing blood. The match ends with Austin locked into a sharpshooter, bleeding, refusing to give up, refusing to quit until eventually he just passes out from the blood loss. They call the match. Hart's the winner. Hart cements his heel turn by continuing to attack Austin's leg, needing to be held back by the referee. Austin cements his face turn by getting up and walking out under his own power and even giving the referee a stunner for his trouble. one of the rarest creatures in professional wrestling, Chris, a successful double turn, often attempted, almost never successful, but these two made it work. Awesome match, one of my favorites. I'm standing there on the elliptical going to town. I've seen this match in its entirety 10 times, 12 times, and still, it's so great and so emotional. You know that little heart rate? You know the little heart rate gimmicks when you're doing cardio machines?
Mm-hmm.
Normally, my heart rate on the elliptical is like between 150 and 155 beats per minute. Well, I'm so jacked up watching this match. It's up to 170. I've already seen this match, and I knew what was happening, and I was still that emotionally invested in a match that took place 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So great. Highly recommended. I can't endorse this match enough. WrestleMania 13, submission match, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart. Just maybe my favorite match the WWE's ever done, either this or the Cage or this Hell in a Cell match 4 months later that we talked about in 97. In fact, 97 is a really great year for wrestling in the WWF because you have this match, you have the Hell in a Cell between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, you have a pretty solid Monday Night Raw, wow, Monday Night Raw between the British Bulldog and Bret Hart in February of 97. You have a super fun 10-man tag at the aptly named Canadian Stampede in June of 97. I like the SummerSlam main event between Bret Hart and The Undertaker, which leads directly into Montreal. You have Montreal, which in and of itself is not a great match, but it is an important match, needless to say.
Yeah.
1997 WWF is where it's at. A lot of fun. Highly, highly recommended this match. I can't say highly. I can't say recommended enough. When you're done listening to us, go watch this match. WrestleMania 13, Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Definitely. I still need to finally sit down and watch that match too. You
recommended
it to me last week, and
you have to do it. It's just so it is a perfect wrestling match.
Yeah. My match of the week is not a perfect wrestling match.
That's okay. That'll be fun too.
But it is definitely a fun popcorn wrestling match from the November 18th, 2013 Raw in Nashville, Tennessee. A 12-man tag team match. The teams of CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, the Usos, and the Rhodes Brothers versus the Shield and the Wyatts. This is I
have no memory of this match.
This match was honestly just throwing a bunch of storylines together leading into 2013 Survivor Series and just putting it all on the card together because they wanted to save time for a Florida-Georgia line performance at that edition of Raw. God knows why they thought that was a good idea.
Is Raw still 2 hours at this time?
No, this was the 3-hour Raw.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So, they opened the third hour with a Florida-Georgia line concert because apparently that's what they thought people wanted to see, which, I mean, sure, it probably brought some people to watch the show, but I guarantee you they didn't stay beyond that. If they did tune in for that. But regardless, the match itself is, like I said, it's a bunch of storylines thrown together to try and get everybody on the card to just tangle with each other. The thing that I like about this match is it honestly shows the potential of character work that Bray Wyatt could put together if given the opportunity. Because, I mean, we talked last week about how Bray Wyatt is basically a garbage product right now, that he's been just booked so horribly that it doesn't even matter what they do with him anymore. He's just, so damaged goods now that it doesn't matter. But this was a point in time where this was pretty fresh after the Wyatt family had been called up from NXT to the main roster, and this was where the seeds of a Wyatt Shield feud were being planted right around this time, and putting them together in a match really forced both sides to overcome their differences, and it was honestly all Bray that helped the Shield and the Wyatts overcome their differences. About 10 minutes into the match, I think it was Harper tags himself in because the Shield guys had just been tagging each other. None of the Wyatt family members had been in, and Harper just tags himself in, and that immediately sparks, Shield and Wyatt guys to get in each other's faces and start fighting, and gives the face team a chance to get back into the match. And then a few minutes later, they've got Dean Ambrose down for a pinfall, and Wyatt jumps in and saves him, and saves the pinfall, which is to the shock of Roman and Seth on the apron there, and Wyatt just turns around and looks at them and says, "Let us help you. See what we can do together." Just like giving them this whole line, like this was classic charisma monster Bray.
That's supernatural Bray. I like it.
Yeah, just bringing together these warring sides to just by trying to convince them to see, what can you do, what you can do when we're all together. And for the next 10 minutes of the match, the Shields and the Wyatts just dominate everybody that the faces bring in. They've got Daniel Bryan as a face in peril for a very long time, until finally he hits an amazing counter DDT on Roman and goes and tags in Punk, and Punk just goes ham on Dean Ambrose, who also tags himself in, and it ends in the classic WWE tag team formula where everybody hits their finishers on everybody else until finally Punk hits go to sleep on Dean and gets the pin. And the post match, the Shield guys kind of fade out, but the Wyatts and the Real Americans jump in and the post match and join the Wyatts to beat down on Punk and Daniel Bryan before the return of Rey Mysterio. This was when Rey was just making his big comeback to the company, which would lead to his infamous number 30 appearance at the Royal Rumble that everybody still talks about to this day.
I still hear the boos.
Yeah, but this was before that, so he shows up and gets wildly cheered. Hits a double 619 on Harper and Jack Swagger, and then they all seven of the faces stand tall in the ring afterwards. So this was the Raw go home for Survivor Series.
That sounds like a fun match. It
was a fun match. It probably went a little too long. It was a 25-minute main event, if you include the post-match stuff. But I mean, the psychological interplay between the Shield and the Wyatts is really the story of the match. It's not even about the overarching storylines that were leading into Survivor Series. It's really about the psychological interactions between the Shield and the Wyatts, and it really lays the groundwork for their eventual feud. Because I mean, the feud between the Shield and the Wyatts, people often forget that was a heel versus heel feud, but it worked so well because just the interactions between the characters of Wyatt being this masterful charismatic leader with these unchained monsters versus still very militaristic regimented Shield that had their way of doing things and was not used to ever being in a situation where they were on equal footing with somebody. They were always the guys coming out on top, but to be on equal footing with these seemingly unhinged terror monsters, it really worked. But this was what laid the groundwork for that. If you can find it, it's kind of hard to find the full match. Like the only video I can find of it on YouTube is a Spanish language version of it, and the only other ones that are out there are the little clip shows that WWE.
It's on Raw, you said, or?
Yeah, it was the November 18th, 2013.
Aren't all Raws on the network?
I don't know if this one is.
I know a lot are. I don't know if all of them are.
Yeah. If it is on the network, if it is on the network, give it a look. It's it's not a masterpiece 5-star match or anything like that, but it's a fun watch and it's a nice primer for what was to come in a couple of months at the Elimination Chamber.
What is your favorite Shield Wyatts match? The main event one or the Elimination Chamber one? It's been a long time since I don't think I've seen either one of them since they aired. I think it's been a long time.
I haven't watched either one of them since a little bit after they aired. That's really tough to say.
I remember them both being excellent.
Yeah, no, they were both excellent, and that was a feud that honestly, like, if you haven't gone back and listened to Roman Reigns on Talk with Jericho, he talks about the fact that he thinks the Shield breakup what happened way too quickly and that they could have had a good year-long run as a face faction.
He's 100% correct.
Yeah,
he's
and
100. And even Batista has mentioned that. He's like, we put these guys over strong, and then the next night they broke them up.
Yeah, and I think that a Shield Wyatt feud that lasted for a few months could have been an amazing part of that face run. I really think that would have been great.
You could have main evented SummerSlam that year, or not, maybe not main evented, because the main event was always going to be Brock destroying someone.
Yeah, either Cena or Daniel Bryan, depending on.
You could have easily had a Shield Wyatt cage match or something.
Yeah.
Or Hell in a Cell or something at SummerSlam. I miss the Shield. I miss because all three guys in it were way better than they are now.
Yeah.
And I binge watched a lot of Shield matches, maybe 6 months ago. They were all pretty formulaic, but the formula was so great it didn't matter. They almost all started with Dean Ambrose doing wacky Dean Ambrose shit, but because he wasn't, oh man, Dean Ambrose has ketchup and mustard, what's gonna happen? It was aggressive, angry, psychotic Dean Ambrose, brawling and stuff. He would tag in Seth, who would bump like a mofo, and sell, and they would tag in Roman, and Roman would do the one thing he does best, which is offense, and the match would end.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah,
you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. And the thing about the Shield matches that also worked is they were kind of free to do a little bit more stuff that was outside of their expected arsenal. You know, you watch Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins matches now. Seth Rollins less so than the other two, but still they're pretty much doing all the same moves that they've done,
especially Roman
for a long time. Yeah, especially Roman. Although from pay-per-view. Pay-per-view Roman brings out a little bit more of the arsenal than he does on Monday nights.
True.
And also I credit to Matt DSM over at Cage Side for reminding me that there are a lot of old Raws on Hulu too. So you can probably pick up that if you want to.
They have a 90-minute Raw on Hulu, don't they?
Yeah, and this match probably isn't cut up too badly for that because they cut a lot out of Raws for Hulu, but this match probably isn't cut up too badly, so you can probably get a good a good version of it if you want to go looking for it on Hulu. That's probably a good.
I will check it out. Thank you.
Yeah,
I will check it out. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. And now
but you're right though. I mean, real quick. I mean, we're 2014, the second half of 2014, and all of 2015 is just kind of a wasteland. We could have easily kept the Shield together for another 6 months.
Yeah.
But a confluence of injuries and other stuff just led it to them breaking it up too soon and kind of wandering in the wilderness for a little bit.
Yeah.
I get Dean Ambrose was never hotter than he was in 2014 when he was the righteous angel of vengeance against that dastardly Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And then he jobbed out to a hologram and an exploding TV monitor, and he's never been the same.
Yeah, honestly,
Seth Rollins. Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, like, they did everything they could to take Dean's overness and just like put it into this box of this wacky character that they really didn't need to do because he's demonstrated he doesn't need to be confined to that in order to still play a convincing character that people can enjoy.
He needs a heel turn in the worst way because this company doesn't know how to make baby faces.
Yeah. Well, now he does. Yeah.
Unless they're not. Yeah. Now I'm saying now in April 22nd, 2017. Not then. Then he was great because something I've learned, and I was thinking about this as I got a haircut this morning, so I had a little time to think because I'm not one of the guys who likes to talk during a haircut.
Yeah, me neither.
When the barber, I've gone to the barber before. He's cool. He just cuts my hair, and I sit there in silence.
Yeah.
No, but sometimes they try to talk to you. I don't want to say, "Hey, don't talk to me," because they have scissors near my ears. You know what I'm saying. I don't like to really talk during that, so I had a lot of time to think about the show and about this company and everything we're talking about, and they don't know how to make baby faces.
Not at all.
Except unintentionally. Because do you know who the biggest baby face on Monday Night Raw is right now?
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman. Who they're not trying to make a baby face.
Nope.
You know who the biggest heel on Monday Night Raw is right now?
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, who they're not trying to make a heel. Like, this company goes out of its way to make life difficult for themselves.
Yep.
And especially with Dean Ambrose. Like, And here's another thing with the whole Dean Ambrose 2014. I get that you thought Seth Rollins was the guy. I get it. Between Seth and Dean, I would not make that decision because I think Dean Ambrose is a better overall professional wrestler than Seth Rollins is. He's not the in-ring worker, but he's better at everything else sometimes by leaps and bounds. He's a better promo than Seth Rollins. He's a much better character than Seth Rollins. He's much more emotional than Seth Rollins. He conveys feeling better than Seth Rollins does. The only thing Seth Rollins does better than Dean Ambrose is bump and hit moves. Seth Rollins is the ultimate video game wrestler. He strings together a bunch of moves. None of them have any meaning. We go to the finish.
Yep.
Whereas Dean Ambrose does all the little things.
Yeah, he's got the psychology down very well.
100%. I've talked about. In fact, you know what? I'm going to preview next week's match of the week. I just thought of this. Next week's match of the week is going to be the very first Shield match against, off the top of my head, Kane, Daniel Bryan, and Ryback at a December 2012 pay-per-view, which I believe was in Brooklyn.
That would have been tables, ladders, and chairs.
Yeah, I believe that was at Barclays.
I don't think that Barclays was constructed yet, so that might have been actually.
It was in Nassau.
That was either at the Coliseum or it was at the Garden. And given that they
either way, I'm pretty sure New York was prominently involved.
Yeah, given that they only run the Garden once in a blue moon nowadays,
it may have been in Nassau.
It probably was at Nassau.
Yeah, you know what? Real quick, 2012 TLC WWE was where? It was Barclays. It was Barclays per wiki. What? Yeah. This is going to be my match of the week next week because I talk about him a lot. My dad is a huge professional wrestling fan. My dad has been watching professional wrestling since the mid-1970s. My dad will be 60 this year, so that should give you kind of a time frame as to how long he's been watching this product. My dad has seen everybody wrestle either on television or live. He's seen Andre the Giant live, and he's like one of the all-time greats. He's like, you don't really appreciate how great he was until you saw him live because he's just so much larger than everyone else, and TV doesn't do that justice.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was at my dad's house for this. And we weren't planning on it, but we ordered this pay-per-view because I wanted him to see the Shield. Because my dad does not watch Indies or Ring of Honor or any of that crap. So we had no idea who any of these guys were.
And let me just take a moment to say we don't think that the Indies and Ring of Honor are crap, but you know.
No. Well, Ring of Honor is crap, but we didn't then. You're right. My dad watches 2 wrestling programs these days. My dad watches Raw, unless there's a sporting event on, and he flips back and forth. And he watches New Japan on Access Friday nights.
Yeah.
He doesn't watch SmackDown because he works late on Tuesdays and then he grabs dinner with a friend and it kind of cuts into his schedule. And he doesn't watch anything on the network because even though my sister and I have tried to set up the network on the smart TV maybe 10 times, he's like, I don't get it. I don't care. I'm not going to watch it anyways. Because my dad's kind of crotchety.
Yeah.
Anyway, my dad knows wrestling. He understands how this works. And if you have wrestlers who are good at their job, you don't need a backstory. They can suck you in with the match. So we ordered this match, 2012 TLC. We watched the card. It's a good card. We get to the match, the Shield versus Team Hell No and Ryback, and all of a sudden my dad goes, who's that guy? And I go, what, the one with the long hair? No. What, the one with the tattoos? No, the other guy, the one with the short hair. Who's that guy? And I go, that's Dean Ambrose. And he goes, that guy has it. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, that guy understands wrestling. And I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
That guy understands wrestling. It's exactly what he said to me. And he's right. Dean Ambrose understands wrestling.
He does.
But they fucked him. They totally and completely fucked him. And now he's just kind of treading water, and we'll see what happens with The Miz. I'm highly optimistic about The Miz. I am not so optimistic that Raw knows how to book The Miz or book Dean Ambrose, but I am encouraged by what I saw on Monday with Dean Ambrose supremely confident, cocky, doesn't need a gimmick. Because when you are as charismatic in general, you can be The Miz and put on this facade of being this A-lister, which is a facade, as we all know.
Yeah.
Or you can be Dean Ambrose, who just doesn't give a damn. And that's confidence right there. When you're so confident in yourself that you don't care what other people think, so you don't mind wearing jeans and a wife beater because that's you.
Yeah.
That's the character we need for Dean Ambrose, if they're going to keep him babyface. I'd still say keep him heel, slick his hair back like he had in the Shield. But it seems they're going to keep him babyface for a while, which is fine because he gets babyface reactions.
Mhm.
And babyface reactions are few and far between on Monday Night Raw, unless they're unintentional. Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with keeping a babyface. I am less okay with them bringing over 2 SmackDown stars and having them feud only on the red brand. I thought the whole point of this shakeup was to, shake things up. But
Yeah.
whatever. I like Dean Ambrose. I like The Miz. I like Maurice. So I am cautiously optimistic that this could work.
Well, that's a good lead into the whole problem with the Monday Night Raw main event scene, which is a lot of stagnation. I
Yes.
mean, and that bringing over Ambrose and Miz to feud with each other on Raw now is stagnation for the two of them. I mean, they're going to make it work because they've made it work in the past. And I mean, Dean is and that promo that he cut against the Miz this past week was perfect. And that's why I think it's going to work as well as it will, because of the fact that he is just that good at conveying how much fire he has. And putting Miz as the guy to do that against is a good thing, because we just had the Miz spending 6-8 months on SmackDown berating guys like Daniel Bryan and the people that Daniel Bryan put against the Miz for caring too much about about the fans and appeasing the fans and having the image of a wrestler rather than thinking about themselves and their own careers. And Dean is the guy to kind of show in storyline that caring about the fans is the way to care about your career, because make sure that the fans will continue to want you there. That, I think, is the storyline that they're going to go for, and I think it'll work out fairly well. But
I'm not as optimistic about the in-ring.
Yeah, no. I mean,
in the ring has regressed since the Shield days, as I'm sure you can testify to.
Yeah.
And The Miz is good enough, with emphasis on enough, not emphasis on good.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's a kind of guy who has enough in-ring psychology to be able to get by, to hide his technical execution shortcomings.
Yes. Against somebody who is good enough, who is good to kind of carry him, and I hate the word carry, and kind of lead him along into a match.
Yeah.
And I don't think Dean Ambrose is that, but I mean, it's going to be, the matches they have are going to be gimmicky. Maurice is going to be involved, and she's awesome. So I'm not losing that much sleep over it.
Yeah.
And the SmackDown Live showed us that the in-ring part of it is the least important part, unless you're AJ Styles.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we're okay with that. That feud, I think we're okay with.
Yeah, but that is also mid-card Raw. I mean, main event Raw is where the real problems lie. And as a for instance of that, let's take a look at what was just published on Cage Side today, which is breaking news.
Which again, join, read.
Yes,
they're good people. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, if you're not part of the community, please come join us. We try to be nice.
Yeah, hang on the daily. We're good people.
But just published actually a few hours ago, breaking news from WWE. I don't know if this is going to be the main event of Raw this in 2 days, but part of Raw is going to be a match between Braun Strowman and Kalisto as revenge for Kalisto getting dumped into a dumpster. But it's not just going to be any kind of match. No, it's going to be, wait for it, a dumpster match. Which
so they can,
I can only
literally
assume,
I
can only assume this means that you win the match by pushing your opponent into a dumpster, and I don't know. I don't know if that's it, or if it you actually have to close the lid. Maybe it'll be like a stretcher match where you have to push them over the finish line or something. Who knows? I don't know. But
I think this is where Roman Reigns comes back.
Yeah, this is going to be the miraculous Roman Reigns return. And I guess we should just, as much as I really don't want to, we should just have this discussion because it needs to happen. I mean, for those who've been listening to the show, you probably know by now, I am a fan of Roman Reigns. I enjoy his work. I enjoy what he does. There are gripes that I have with some of the things that he is saddled with by the company, but overall, I think that he is a solid performer, and I don't think that a lot of the hate that is leveled against him is justifiably placed on him. I think a lot of it has to do with what the company forces him to do. But George's view is a little bit different, which I'll let you expound upon that.
Sunday Night Roman entertains me 9 times out of 10. We'll talk about WrestleMania in a minute. Roman Reigns in a pay-per-view match is a good to very good to great in-ring competitor. He has had great matches with a variety of different people on pay-per-views. Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, I would even argue Bray Wyatt at the Hell in a Cell, which is impressive because Bray Wyatt's pretty crappy, and especially AJ Styles.
Also, and a number of other performers who don't get a lot of mention.
Yes, not just those four, but those four are pretty different in terms of in-ring style and ability.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
He has had good to great matches with all four of those people, among others, and I'm not just saying those four.
Yeah.
Everything else about the guy is just problematic, either on his own end or on their end. Now, we're talking about going back, right, in 2014-15 WWE. As awesome and as much as I marked out at my friend's house when Seth Rollins cashed in that briefcase in the middle of the Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns match, the better storyline would have been to have Roman beat Brock and just hold the belt for a year, taking on all challengers. Just like John Cena did in 2006 and 2007 when he held the spinner belt for, I believe, 22 of 24 months until he got hurt. You want to make a guy, make a guy. Don't half-ass it.
Yeah.
Because we're right back where there's a great, you watch The West Wing?
Yeah. Oh, it's one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Toby has an incredible line from The West Wing I use all the time. Early in season, maybe halfway through season 1, he goes, "We've been doing this for a year, and all we've gotten is a year older." Well, we've been doing this Roman Reigns thing for 3 years, and all we've gotten is 3 years older.
Yeah.
We're right back where we started with a guy that nobody likes. Now, again, some of it is the company's fault. Some of it is his fault. He still doesn't know how to cut a promo. That's unacceptable after this many years on the main roster. Unacceptable. Now, I will grant you the premise that the 20-minute show opening promo needs to die 1,000 deaths. Right? The Raw starts at 7:05. Here comes wrestler A. He's cutting a promo. Here comes wrestler B. He interrupts him. Here comes wrestler C. He interrupts him. Here comes wrestler D. And we have a tag team match, player. That whole segment from 7:20 to from 7 o'clock to 7:20 needs to go away.
Yeah.
Or at least be used much less often than it is.
Yeah.
But again, this is the card, this is the hand that WWE wants to use, and he needs to learn how to cut that promo. He hasn't. He hasn't gotten better at cutting promos. The bigger issue isn't the promos, though, because he was great in the Shield. He didn't say anything. The bigger issue is that he's just not likable. And they're trying to make him a babyface. Right? You see him, he doesn't convey that John Cena likability, whereas Cena's at least inherently likable, which is what you need this day and age. He's not charismatic enough to be the Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rock, anti-hero babyface. He's not. And he's not likable enough to be the Hulk Hogan, John Cena babyface. So what are we left with? We're left with a good to great in-ring competitor who doesn't draw, moves merch, but not worthy of his push. You know what we're left with? Who am I describing right now? We have a good to great in-ring wrestler who doesn't draw ratings, doesn't pop buy rates, and sells merchandise. Am I talking about Roman Reigns or am I talking about CM Punk? Was CM Punk ever the guy for WWE?
Well, it's debatable with Punk because
was he ever booked like the guy? My apologies. Let me rephrase that question. Was he ever, when he had the title for 434 days, he was never the centerpiece of the company?
Yeah, that's because, you know, there's been a lot of speculation as to why that was. There were a lot of people who say that, you know, it was the longest transitional title reign that there ever was, just so they could get to Rock Cena. You know, and that was what they wanted to get to. And I am not sure that they're wrong in saying that, because, you know,
because he didn't draw.
It's it's well known. Vince is going to stick by his people no matter what. Vince is going to stick by his crowned conquerors no matter what happens. If he has to pull back, as we've seen him have to do with Roman on a number of occasions, he will pull back, but he'll never withdraw his support unless they do something absolutely egregiously wrong.
Not even then. Case in point, when he pissed hot and missed 30 days, he still was right back where he started.
Yeah. He got taken out of the main event and got put into the U.S. title scene. But
he was still the center. But he was still the centerpiece of the shows.
Yeah.
Let's SmackDown Live be a lesson. You don't necessarily need to be the world champion to be the centerpiece of the show. But we'll get to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I want him to be successful because the more successful wrestlers we have, the better the product is.
Yeah.
The product was awesome in 1999 and 2000 when you had like 8 main eventers.
Yeah.
They don't even know how to make a main eventer, let alone multiple main eventers.
Yeah.
The whole thing with this Roman Reigns thing is, it's just tiring. You go anywhere on the wrestling internet, anywhere on the proverbial IWC, and is Roman Reigns the guy? Is he not the guy? He sucks. He's great. It's just so tiring, brother Christopher.
For both sides. I mean,
everybody's wrong about this guy. The people who hate him are wrong. The people who say he's a crappy wrestler are wrong.
Yeah.
The people who say he's the best wrestler in the company are wrong. The people who say he's worthless are wrong. And the people who say he's the guy are wrong. Everybody is wrong about this guy, and it's just so tiring.
I mean, the way that I look at it is this. We've discussed this before. I don't know if it's been something we've talked about on the show here, but Vince McMahon is 72 years old at this point. He looks every bit of it. And we did actually discuss this on the show. It was either a week ago or 2 weeks ago. But this is the hill that Vince is dying on. He is dying on the hill that Roman Reigns is going to be the company babyface. That's what it's going to be. And you and I have both laughed about the fact that before the corpse is even cold on the operating table, Triple H is going to be on the phone with Ryan Ward saying, go get the envelope that has Roman Reigns' heel turn information in
the bottom of my desk drawer.
Put it on the next show. Make it happen. And whether or not you think that's the right move, I mean, because there are plenty of people who will say that that's the absolute wrong move, given the fact that he is the guy that a lot of kids and families have become attached to. His merch sales reflect that very clearly. But in the end, I'll be the first one to tell you, as a fan of Roman Reigns, I'll be the first one to tell you, the booking as a white bread babyface is wrong for Roman. It's wrong, and I know that he doesn't mind being a babyface, and if this is the character that he wants to play, then or that Joanna Y wants to play, fine. That you do you, buddy. But it's still not working. It's still not conveying anything that is leading to advancement for him or for anybody else. There's no dimension here being shown anymore. I mean, there's this whole aspect of he's a tweener / meta heel, whatever they want to describe it as, which I am not a fan of at all. Triple H saying you boo the guy, therefore he's a heel. No, I will accept that to a certain degree, but at some point the writing has to match the reaction. Or the reaction has to match the writing. You have to find a way to get those two to meet, because otherwise nothing is conveyed properly and no progression happens. And that's the thing we're seeing here. When people are watching Braun Strowman push Roman Reigns on a gurney off of a loading dock and then flip him in an ambulance, and they're cheering and saying, "Thank you, Strowman, and you deserve it." They're like savages. I can't stand watching that, and I hate every single person in that arena that was saying "Thank you, Strowman, and you deserve it," because that's fucking vile to say that about another human being. But the fact that they are not,
because you worked yourself into a shoot. Be careful.
Listen, there comes a point in time where people have to realize that cheering for a performer to be hurt is the equivalent of cheering for the person playing that performer to be hurt. And you have to realize that you may not be cheering for the fact that you want the guy to get injured, but I don't know. It's really complicated.
I understand. Yeah. I understand to a point what you're coming here. Let's say, I think it's different because he was clearly an on-screen role. Now, if let's say, for example, because it was clearly Braun Strowman attacking Roman Reigns, not the guy playing Braun Strowman attacking Joanna White.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference there, and it's two actors going at it. Now, let's say Roman Reigns was still doing the crowd entrance gimmick, and some nut job from the crowd hit him with the Money in the Bank briefcase again. Remember that?
Yeah.
If that point, and the guy jumped Roman and got like 3 or 4 punches in or whatever, right?
Yeah. Or the guy.
At that point, the crowd is chanting, "You deserve it." They can all die in a fire.
Yeah.
But because it's an on-screen role, an on-screen portrayal, I'm willing to give them a little bit of a pass. Do you understand what I mean by the difference there?
Yeah, I understand that.
Like the problem is though. Were you done? I'm sorry. If you're not done,
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to really put it into words because that really just upsets me to see people being like having that level of reaction, because it's like, honestly, at some point, like where's the line? Like, to say that even if you are just saying that the performer, that you don't like the performer and that you don't want them on in that role or on TV anymore, I mean, it's one thing to boo them and say to go away, but to be, it's like if we had, like, this is the equivalent of somebody saying "Die Rocky Die." This was die Roman die, basically, in different words.
And what happened when we got Die Rocky Die? 3 months later, we got The Rock, and it worked.
Yeah, but we're not going to get that. That's the thing. Like, people need to understand. I mean, we've talked about how long this has gone on. This is going on 3 years now of this. I think that at this point, most people should understand that this is not changing unless and until Vince retires or dies, or Joanna White leaves the company. Those are the only ways where this is changing. And I mean, I don't like telling people to just give up and accept things, but this is a case of give up and accept it, because this is not
stop watching Raw.
Yeah, or just stop watching Raw. Yeah, because it's not changing. It's not going to change. As much as you see people complaining about it all the time online and saying, this is our way of expressing our discontent. Well, congratulations. You've been expressing your discontent for 3 years and it hasn't changed a goddamn thing. So
no, the ratings have gone down, but
at what point do you understand the futility of your gestures?
Yeah, don't watch Raw. Like, in all honesty, now that the revival are off Raw, I have zero incentive to watch it other than for the show and to talk about it with my dad and other people online.
Yeah.
90% of the reason I watch Monday Night Raw is because my dad and I talk about it. We talk about it on the show. And I talk about it online on CageSideSeats.com, which you should be a member of if you're not. I don't watch Raw because I enjoy Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
I watch it so I can banter about it with people.
Yeah.
And because I have a Sling TV, my ratings don't count. So it works.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Honestly, like I'm not a fan of Raw either, and a lot of my favorite performers are on Raw. I mean, hell, now that Apollo Crews is on Raw, I'm waiting with bated breath for the eventual Apollo Crews and Akira Tozawa tag team, or maybe even a trip. Well, actually, no. Now that Kalisto's on Kalisto's now on Raw too. So we can have a Dragon Gate USA triple team of Kalisto, Apollo Crews, and Akira Tozawa. That would be freaking amazing. I would tune in every week for that. But we're not going to get it because this company sucks at writing things. But all the same, I mean, I don't enjoy Raw, but I still watch it because this is what I have. This is what I have. We have this show. We have an online community where we talk about these things, and it's good to at least be informed when you're going into discussions. I've learned too many times online that if you go into a discussion completely uninformed about things, you're going to look like an idiot. So I at least like to not be completely ignorant about the subject matter. But it's, you're right. It's not great. There's not a lot that's going on the show that's worth watching. And, even the things that are worth watching, they're making over-the-top ridiculous. One only needs to look to Braun Strowman both last week and this week upcoming. I mean, this past week, a ring collapse, which, it's awesome to watch, but what purpose does that serve? I mean, the ring collapsed. Braun Strowman, I guess,
like $1 million.
I guess he won the match. Yeah, it does make him look good, but I mean, to be fair, he just had beaten Big Show a month or so ago, or 2 months ago. It was fairly recent that he had beaten Big Show, and we had no reason to expect any sort of a different outcome. So, and half the people who watch that already are waiting with negative anticipation for Roman to then come in and take Braun to school and be the only one that could take him down, and they'll boo the shit out of that too.
I don't understand how you book that match. Neither Roman nor Braun can afford to take a loss.
And
you cannot have a no decision on a pay-per-view because people pay their money for that.
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of resolution. Plus, you already had Roman beat Braun clean 2 months ago.
Yeah, Fastlane, yeah. I mean,
how do you, Chris, let's say Vince calls you up and says, Crazy Chris, book the Roman Reigns Braun Strowman match. How do you book it?
Roman Reigns walks in with a gun and shoots Braun in the head. Like, that's all I've got. That's really all I've freaking got at this point, because that's the only way that you will progress the narrative in a believable way and get appropriate reactions to what is going on with your performers. That's what I've got, because we've reached the point of Roman Reigns is a lost cause as a babyface within WWE, and maybe within any wrestling company ever.
I think New Japan can make it work, but New Japan is pretty damn great.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be tough for the U.S. based crowd to accept it, but I mean, because the New Japan crowd is the same crowd that is willing to accept Kazuchika Okada's booking as the top babyface, even though he acts like a heel, but gives WWE endless shit for booking Roman Reigns in the same way. But
I mean, that's because they book Kazuchika Okada to be invincible.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they booked, I may be too late now. I may be too late now, but I think if they booked Roman Reigns as invincible rather than underdog fighting from underneath, like he's the Samoan Daniel Bryan, I think we would have gotten somewhere.
That's what I've been saying from the beginning. Is that we talked about that like very brief stretch, which was 2 weeks after he won the title the night after TLC 2015. The TLC is the night that he took out Triple H, speared him into the floor, and left him
and ran back. Oh, that was so great.
Blood. And then the next night,
where he's hitting him with the chairs.
Yeah, hit him with the chairs and speared him through. He power bombed him onto the table, then elbow dropped him through the table, and then came back, was getting escorted back up the ramp, then ran all the way back down the ramp and speared him on the floor in front of the ring.
That was amazing. That was more of that.
And then the next night in a match against Sheamus with Vince at ringside, Vince trying to cause distractions. It was a match where it was basically Roman had to win the title or get fired. Vince is on the apron trying to cause all distractions. Roman Superman punches Vince and then wins the match. And
sells it like death. And
in front of the Philadelphia crowd that had booed him out of the building 10 months prior at the Royal Rumble, he's getting raucous cheers when he wins the title. But that was incredible.
2 points. One, they absolutely should have followed that up, and they did a shit job.
Yes, they absolutely should.
2, they pulled out all the stops to get him that, though.
Mhm.
They played every card in their deck. They played the beat the crap out of Triple H card. They played the beat the crap out of Vince McMahon card. You can't go to that well that often.
No. But that was the character. That was it. That night at
the mauling ass kicker is the way to go.
Yeah, where he just no mercy on Triple H. Where he's beating the shit out of Triple H
with a chair. Yeah,
and screaming, "Oh, it feels so good!" That was an amazing moment. That was
more
like
that.
This was the Roman Reigns that we need. Like
this ship has sailed, unfortunately. I believe.
I mean. Yeah, unfortunately, because I mean, even if they did go to that now, I mean, people have made their minds up, and it really sucks because they've been, the crowd has given Roman chance after chance after chance. Like they were on board with that, and then WWE fucked it up with first having the title rematch with Vince as the guest referee, and then putting the title on the line in the Royal Rumble match. They fucked it up there. Then they started to get it right again when they had the Rowan versus AJ Styles feud, and then they fucked it up after that with the feud with Rusev and Lana for the U.S. title, and really, like, it's just been a never-ending cycle at this point of they do something right, then they do a lot of things wrong. And they do something right, and they do a lot of things wrong. And each time they do something right, fewer and fewer people are coming over to their side. And it's now at the point where, Roman comes into the ring after retiring the Undertaker, has the most smarmy, self-obsessed grin on his face and says, "This is my yard now," and everybody boos. But it's not, a heel, accepting of a heel boo. It's a get out boo. Because they've officially reached the point where they can't bring anyone into their side with doing things right anymore. And that was the right thing to do after retiring the Undertaker. And then the very next week they fucked it up again with the Michael Cole interview.
This company
leading to the Braun beatdown.
Yeah.
The company knows what it wants.
Biggest babyface on Raw, Braun Strowman.
Yeah. The company, no, let me actually, I'm going to disagree with you there. The company does know what it wants. The company knows exactly what it wants. But the problem is that what they want, it's not even what they want. The company knows what Vince wants. And that's what they have to do. And when you get right down to it, getting to what Vince wants is not going to be the same as getting to what the crowd wants. And it just doesn't come together.
The biggest feud on Monday Night Raw is Vince versus the crowd.
Yeah, there is no intersection anymore. There used to be a good amount of intersection when it was still the Shield. Let's go back to talking about the Shield again. When the Shield was needing to get over in a huge way, that was done correctly. That was done right. And for the time the Shield was together, they did it exactly as they needed to do it in order to, when they finally did turn babyface, get them to be cheered and be loved by the crowd. And they were. There's no doubt about the fact that when the Shield turned babyface, they were beloved by the crowd. Nobody was against them at that point in time. But now we're here at this stage of the game, and that intersection is gone now. Even when they do bring back the Shield, because they're going to do it now that they're all on the same show, they're probably going to hotshot it and have it be the Shield is the only way that Braun can be taken down. Have a half-assed Shield reunion be the way that Braun eventually gets taken down. Because if Roman goes over him at Payback, they're eventually going to realize, oh crap, we screwed this up, and then have Braun go back over again. And then the Shield is going to have to unite to take him down, and people will boo it. People will boo the reunion of the Shield.
Yeah. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Talk about whether or not Roman Reigns is the guy, whether or not, whatever. That's so boring, so tiring.
Mm-hmm.
Could Braun Strowman be the guy?
I don't know.
Love his promo deliveries.
It's It's
a good worker for his size. He's gotten so much better over the past year. Destroys people, which always gets a pop. And he has the big guy charisma down. Like,
if you're going to talk about if Braun Strowman can be the guy and talk about his role within the company, at that point, then you need to talk about where does the company want to go with their legacy? Because the company has always been dating back to, when they first started having it be, an actual TV broadcast show on a weekly basis, going back to the 80s. The company was always about telling, the superhero movie storylines. Look at Hogan. You look at Steve Austin, The Rock, Cena, all the guys who were the top of the company. They were the guys who were fighting the good fight. Meanwhile, on the other side, the guys who were their chief antagonists, Andre, Ric Flair, Randy Orton, Triple H, Batista, the guys who were the bad guys. They had their moments in the sun, but they all eventually got taken down. So WWE is at a crossroads right now of needing to decide, do they want to continue to be this promotion that tells these storylines that are not predictable, but definitely formulaic in a lot of ways? Or do they want to, vary things up a little bit and accept the idea of maybe having a bad guy be the top guy in the company? And I don't think that they're ready to do that with their whole PR image, because when you go out of your way to do things like the Be a Star campaign, do all the superstar hospital visits, the Warrior Award, things like that, like all of their PR initiatives outside of the product, where everybody's going around and shaking hands and kissing babies and meeting children and all these things. I don't think that WWE is going to be able to feasibly continue programs like that while the guy like Braun Strowman is the top guy in the company. And honestly, I think that Vince and Stephanie care more about those PR related things rather than what's happening on the weekly programming, because that kind of stuff is what brings in investors and money. That public relations image, that's what brings in the big bucks. You could talk all you want about falling ratings and the viewership on the network and the YouTube channel views and all these other things. The investors are putting money into the company because of their PR efforts. That's the kind of thing that makes money and brings in interest from big name buyers. It sucks, but it's the truth of the matter of the business aspect of things. So I don't think that there is a way to feasibly have Braun Strowman or any other monster heel character be the guy in the company. It's the worst, because Braun, he checks off all the boxes. He's a guy who gets reactions from all segments of the audience.
Yep.
He's a guy that is charismatic and will draw eyeballs, both because of his size and because of his verbiage. He delivers well on the mic. He is only getting better in the ring, and he is, in a lot of ways, he's going to end up being what the Big Show would have been if the Big Show had not been forced to turn face and heel 7,000 times in the course of his career. But I don't think he ever is going to be able to be the guy, because they don't want to be sending a 385-pound, 6'8" bearded destroyer to the Today Show.
I think he's got to trim the beard, first of all, if he does that. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't work with the image. I mean, and for all the jokes that we make, I mean, Don Sal, he makes the joke all the time: strong heel territory, and that is what WWE is in all but name. They're a strong heel territory, but they don't want to commit to that, because then they have to, try and justify how they can continue all of these PR efforts, even while also on TV having the big man on campus be the guy that throws people into dumpsters. How do you reconcile that storytelling? And that's the problem, because if you have the top guy on the show being the guy that throws people into dumpsters, when they send a bunch of superstars to elementary schools to do be a star promotions, and they start taking questions from the kids in the audience, how are the kids supposed to reconcile for themselves? But wait, we just saw Braun Strowman throw a guy into a dumpster last week, and he's the guy who's on all the headlines. How does this make any sense? So
can you turn him face and make him the guy? Then he's not throwing guys in the dumpsters?
I don't think so. Not Braun.
You don't think it works? You don't think he works as a face? As a real face, not as a meta face like he is now, which the whole problem with the meta face and meta heel thing is that, okay, let's say Roman Reigns stays where he is portrayed as a baby face, but treated as a heel by your crowd, okay? You know what the problem with that is, Crazy Chris?
I think I have a lot of problems, but
you know what a problem? You're right. You know what
a
problem with that is?
Yeah.
No heel can get real heat off him because they're going to get cheered, which means no heel can transfer real heat to him or anyone else because they'll be getting cheered. If you get Roman Reigns versus The Miz, for example, when The Miz goes for those Daniel Bryan kicks, he's getting an actual yes chance.
Yeah.
That's not what The Miz wants.
Nope.
So the whole problem with Monday Night Raw is that your top babyface is a heel.
Yeah.
And they can't or won't fix it.
And for all the talk that the people in the company give about this, about this fact that, at least he gets reactions. Like, I mean, how many times have people quoted that Kevin Owens interview line where he says, I would die to have Roman Reigns level reactions, because that's a dude who has everybody in the audience looking at him. Yeah, but for what though? Because they're not paying attention to what he's doing in the ring. They're not paying attention to what he's saying on the mic. They're only looking to see how they can get him out of the arena as quickly as possible, which it hurts me to say that. It really does. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to find a way to push him out as quickly as they possibly can. And it sucks. It really does.
It does. I mean, you look at SmackDown, faces are faces and heels are heels. Like,
yeah.
It's complicated. I don't.
I mean,
it does suck. It sucks. There's no other way to put it.
It's one thing if you're
Monday Night Raw is unwatchable because of the main event scene.
Yeah. It's one thing if it's like how it is in New Japan, where LIJ and Bullet Club are getting cheers because the crowd enjoys their their meta performances, but in the end they will eventually get booed when they really start going after the the longtime fan favorites. Like that's why these seemingly interminable tag matches between Taguchi Japan and LIJ, that's why they are working, because LIJ is actually getting booed when these things are happening, and that's what they should be getting. But for heels to be getting cheers is one thing, but it's monumentally easier to work around heels getting cheered than it is to work around faces getting booed.
Yes, absolutely.
Monumentally easier. In
fact, I would argue that the vast majority of top WWE faces got that way historically by being heels who got cheered.
Yeah. And that was, again, look at the Shield.
Yeah. Look at everybody.
Look
at Rock. Look at Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Look at everybody. Look at Shawn Michaels. Mm-hmm. Look at The Rock. Look at Steve Austin. Look at everybody. They all got their face. Daniel Bryan, Triple H even. Kurt Angle, all these guys got their main line face run by being heels first who got cheered. Look at Batista, Randy Orton. I mean, I could keep going.
Yeah. I mean, Kurt Angle is a face now whose cheers are "you suck," and it's meant to be an endearing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get that?
Yeah. That's how it is. But they've done it backwards. And it's not helping their product any.
It really isn't.
All right. Oh my God. I love talking to you, but it's just so tiring to talk about Roman Reigns.
It really is. I
especially because especially because you realize that you're not getting anywhere with them.
Yeah, as a fan,
No matter how much no matter how much you scream in the night and rend your garments and et cetera, you're not getting anywhere with the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I as a fan of Roman Reigns, I am at the point of just not being able to muster up the energy anymore to debate some of these things.
It's tiring.
It is.
Is no other word for it. It is tiring.
And I don't know. I don't know how they get out of this, because like we said, Vince is going to die on this hill. This is where he is going to die.
You're right.
And the question is, how badly is it going to drag down the company until he, until he dies on that hill? Will the company be beyond saving at that point? It's tough to say.
We'll see. We'll see what happens when the TV deal comes up.
Yeah.
I think they're helped by the fact that USA can't produce another good show if you put a gun to their head.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very different time when USA had shows like one of my all-time favorite TV shows, Burn Notice.
Only seen the first season and loved it. I need to watch more of it.
You really do. I mean, Jeffrey Donovan is an amazing actor. I highly recommend that show. And when they had White Collar before it got mediocre, Graceland, which I never wound up getting caught up on past the first season, which I eventually need to do. They had a slew of great TV shows that they had on for every other night of the week. But now it's what?
Now it's Raw, SmackDown, the Colony that nobody watches.
And Chrisley knows best.
Chrisley knows best. And nobody's watching their network.
And reruns of shows from other networks that people can find on Netflix or Hulu. And they don't need to watch with commercials. So, I mean, USA's inability to be competent with their original programming is a good thing for WWE. But
it's because they don't have a choice than to keep WWE around.
Yeah, but who knows how long that lasts?
Yeah, but we got a lot of time for the new rights deal, so a lot of time, a lot of stuff can change.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about SmackDown?
Well, yes, because
we have more to talk about Raw. I forget.
No. We can talk about SmackDown because I need to call you to the carpet right now for what you said last week. I'm going to
educate the class as to what I said.
Yes, this is a direct quote from last week's discussion of the Superstar Shakeup when we were talking about one Jinder Mahal, and George's words exactly were, "He's just a jobber. It is what it is. I'm not losing sleep over Jinder Mahal. They're never giving him a belt, so who gives a shit?"
I stand by all that.
1 week
just a jobber.
1 week later, Jinder Mahal is going to be in the main event of Backlash 2017 against Randy Orton for the WWE Championship.
Let me interrupt you right here. There is no chance in hell that is the main event of the show.
It
will not.
What is the main event then?
The AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. That's going to be the match that closes the show. In terms of the match that goes on last, which has been your definition prior to main events.
Yes.
It will not be. That match will be buried in the mid-card. If they're smart. Because a combination of unmotivated Randy Orton, a liquored-up crowd at the Allstate, and Jinder Mahal, who is at best okay, and a main event slot, which could be 13, 14 minutes. This could be like the best of wrestle crap right here.
Not just Jinder Mahal, but also now it is official. The Bollywood boys. Although
let's pander to people in India by having these people who aren't even Indian. They're just ethnically Indian.
Yeah, the Bollywood boys, who are being rebranded as the Singh brothers, are going to be officially in a state.
Are they real brothers?
Yes, they are real brothers. Yeah. Not only are they going to be working with Jinder Mahal, but also word is, and this is not really a spoiler from the NXT tapings because it's a dark match, but they're also putting the Bollywood boys with Jeet Rama on NXT, who's another Indian WWE superstar. So
the pandering. Can you feel the pandering, man?
Yeah, and the reason for this is because WWE is finally like expanding operations within India and bringing the network there full steam and the whole shebang. So Yeah, the pandering there is strong.
Yep.
But I mean, I think that as part of that pandering, this match ends up as the main event because, I mean, what does it say about the company that, you know, you put the top, what's supposed to be the top championship in the company, either as the show opener or in the mid card of a pay-per-view? I mean,
the belt's already worthless though.
They don't want to actually cement that message for real though.
Then why did they pick Jinder Mahal? If they cared about the prestige of their belt, they wouldn't have picked Jinder Mahal. To be made, like, they don't care. If they cared about the prestige of their belt, they wouldn't have hot-shotted it to Bray Wyatt and then had him wrestle maggots or whatever the hell that was at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people who are of the mindset that this is just a transitional feud, and I agree. But I mean, a month and a half long transitional feud, it's a bit much. I mean, because Backlash is not until May 21st, 3 days after my birthday, by the way.
Hey, happy early birthday.
Yeah, no, this is not a happy early birthday. I don't like this. This is a terrible birthday present.
Can you get a refund? Can you at least get store
WWE?
Can you at least get store credit?
I would like to get
You'll settle for store credit, right?
For Steroid Mahal, you know.
Yeah, I have a body mark, but he's gone too far over the top. Like, you're aware of the phenomenon of the uncanny valley?
Yeah.
Like, Jinder Mahal is like the uncanny valley for body marks.
Yeah.
Gone too far over the top.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could have very easily given me a genuine main event push for Luke Harper, and instead you gave me this.
And it would have made storyline sense.
Thanks a lot for that crappy ass birthday present, WWE. You know, real nice.
I was gonna go to this show. It's in Chicago.
You're better off not.
I'm probably not. Yeah. Mostly because it's a Sunday night, and it will be a bitch to get from the Allstate to my apartment.
Yeah.
I plan on going the day before to Takeover.
Yeah.
And evolve. So we'll have to reschedule when the time comes.
Yeah, whatever. Takeover is going to be phenomenal. I mean,
yeah.
You know, think about this possibility, because I mean, they've already pretty much, you know, set this up. The possibility of Hideo Itami winning the NXT title from Bobby Roode with a GTS in Chicago.
It would be great, and cheered for it.
Yeah, the crowd would lose its shit. It would be amazing. And cheered
for it.
Yeah, they would lose their minds. It would be awesome.
Be great.
Yeah.
I don't think it's time to take the belt off Bobby Roode. I think we wait another cycle and take it off him at Brooklyn or wherever SummerSlam is being.
It's Brooklyn again, yeah.
I think we're going to be getting Drew versus Bobby Roode at Brooklyn. I think this is a transitional time for the WWE in general.
I mean,
NXT's a little bit going through a transition, trying to break in some new faces and cement them to main event status. Drew, Chris Hero to a lesser extent. On the women's side, Ruby Riott and the artist formerly known as Kimberly. I think it's a bit of a transitional period for the entire company.
It's entirely feasible that, you know, it's just as likely that Hideo wins and it is that Hideo loses and then immediately moves up to the main roster, because he's the last guy. He is the last holdover of 2014, 2015 NXT. He's the last one, and it's entirely because of injuries.
Yeah, you know, it's so unfortunate because it's not skill or merit; it's because of injuries.
Yeah, if he had not had the injuries that he had, first with the shoulder, and then I forget if it was a back or a leg injury, the second one,
and then someone dropped him on his head.
Yeah, it was a neck injury. Yeah. So if not for those, Tommy already would have had his NXT title run and would already be on the main roster, without a doubt. I mean, he was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 31. You know, he was primed and ready to I honestly think that he would have been the one to take the belt off of Kevin Owens in Japan, and then it would have transitioned to Finn Balor later. If Tommy had not been injured, that would have been the way to go. But you know, his injuries prevented that. So it's equally likely that either he wins with the GTS in front of the Chicago crowd, or that he loses and immediately moves up to the main roster. There's one or the other. But that's a little ways down the line.
Yeah, we got that. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. So and as far as Backlash goes, that Orton Mahal match is the only match announced right now for Backlash. So
no, they've said AJ gets the U.S. title versus the winner of Owens Jericho.
Yes.
They have not explicitly said it's going to be Owens or Jericho. But let's back up. Owens and Jericho are wrestling a week from tomorrow for the U.S. belt.
Yeah, let's look at Payback. Let's
You're right. Next week we'll have more on Payback because it's day before the show. But they've said Owens so we'll do official Payback predictions and stuff next week. But let's kind of set the scene a little bit.
Yeah,
they've said Owens and Jericho are wrestling for the U.S. belt on Payback. The winner brings the belt with them to Friday. Wow, Tuesday Night SmackDown or SmackDown Live, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, I mean,
even though we know about Chris Jericho and his schedule with his band Fozzy, and given that they're teasing a Chris Jericho Drifter feud, I have to imagine Kevin Owens is winning that match and bringing the belt with him officially to SmackDown.
Yeah,
I don't think that's stepping out on a huge limb here.
I mean, the way that it's announced is that Kevin Owens is on SmackDown no matter what, but if Jericho wins, then he comes to SmackDown. So it's either Owens wins and Jericho stays on Raw, or Jericho wins and comes to SmackDown. But like you said, yes, it's entirely likely that this is just a way to finalize that feud and put it in the books and move on to Styles Owens, which it's pretty obvious to read. Next up, the Hardys versus Cesaro, which I'm gonna love the hell out of because Cesaro right now is my favorite tag team on main roster WWE.
Oh, they're great.
I love everything.
We should stay together forever.
Yeah. No, don't run the typical storyline that you do where one guy turns on the other. Keep this team together forever. This is fantastic. Then we've got the House of Horrors match, which the less said about it, the better. The only thing I really need to say about it is that they have very quietly made it a non-title match. Thank God for that.
Which tells you all you need to know about WWE, about this feud, is that the title doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So why did we start the feud with the title in the first place?
Yeah.
Like this whole thing is just from start to finish has been a nightmare.
Yeah. Then we have a cruiserweight title match between Neville and Austin Aries, rematch from WrestleMania 33.
Which should be great because the WrestleMania 33 match was great.
Yes, indeed. Although the prospect of shithead TJ Perkins being ringside for it, I don't know how I feel about that. But I don't know if they've really established that Perkins is at that level right now with Neville. It's entirely likely that he just stays in the back. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Reigns Strowman, which is probably going to end up getting a stipulation. Word is that it most likely will end up being an ambulance match. Although last man standing match is also still on the table.
There's ways to protect the finish with that with either stipulation.
Yeah. Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe. Please, Joe, don't break Rollins' leg again. And finally, Bayley versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title.
Okay. And again, we'll go through all that next week.
Yeah. Next week we've got a lot of events to talk about next week. Actually, we have
a New Japan show too, don't we?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Payback. We're going to be talking about Wrestling Dontaku, and the events that will have happened already up to that point, leading up to Wrestling Dontaku. And we also have the first. We're also going to dabble a little bit into the first set of announcements about War of the Worlds, which is coming up over the summer. So
yes, all of which will be good.
Yeah, I might get a ticket for War of the Worlds in Manhattan. We'll see.
Why not? Rihanna, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it'll be a nice way to see
you got to go see the New Japan guys.
4/5 of Lij, Tanahashi, and
you got to go.
I forget who else.
It's worth it just for that. If you can make logistics happen, it's worth it. I went to Global Wars last year, Ring of Honor / New Japan Global Wars. I saw one of my favorite moments was Big Mike and Tanahashi, one of my a fun tag team. Remember that last year, the Big Mike Tanahashi tag team?
Yeah, that was great.
Versus Moose and Okada. So the match starts with Okada and Big Mike, and they tag out, and then everyone just cheers because it's Tanahashi and Okada in front of them, just standing there.
Yeah,
they didn't do anything. It was like everyone, the 500 people in this gym in Chicago Ridge were just cheering and hollering and whooping and clapping because they got to see Tanahashi and Okada. Like,
yeah,
that's cool as hell.
Hell yeah.
The feud of the decade taking place right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the cool Tanahashi Okada stereo dropkick. Or excuse me, the Tanahashi Moose stereo dropkick, which was fun.
That's awesome.
Moose is a very, very, very competent professional wrestler. It's a shame that he's kind of slumming it in TNA because he definitely could be making an impact, no pun intended, down in NXT or even on the main roster at this point.
Yeah. He's got
go to Global Wars, or excuse me, War of the Worlds.
Yeah, he needs a little bit of character work, but overall, I think he could definitely be a good performer.
Absolutely, he can. He's gotten a lot better in the ring.
Yeah. So I just signed myself up for the alert for when War of the Worlds tickets go on sale. It's actually happening on Friday, May 12th. So that's 6 days before my birthday, which would be a hell of a birthday present for myself. So if I can get there, I will definitely be there. And
then I will be going to definitely Evolve, most likely Takeover, Saturday the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
And outside shot at going to the pay-per-view Sunday nights, but I'm not 100% sure just because it'll be hard for me to get home. Whereas Saturday, I could just stay at my mom's house because she lives 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Evolve for sure, because at this point, if Matt Riddle is competing within 50 miles of my house, I'm going to go see him.
Yeah. I mean, hell, there's an Evolve show going on right now that is within driving distance of my apartment. So, and I'm not there, damn it.
Oh, all right. Well, your dedication to the podcast is admirable.
Yeah. What
Anything else?
Not really. I mean,
we've got a bunch of long shows. I don't mind doing a short one this week.
The only other thing of note to discuss is that officially breaking as of today, this morning, Mauro Ranallo is officially and WWE have both officially announced that they parted ways. Mauro tweeting has nothing to do with JBL. So again, taking the high road, being the class act that he always is. Mauro, great job.
He's a pretty classy individual.
Yeah, wish you nothing but the best to calling all of your future endeavors in combat sports, whether it's in boxing or MMA or wrestling.
Best of luck to Mauro. I wish him nothing but the best. I feel he was a bad fit with WWE from the beginning, and I'm glad that he is going to be doing what he loves, which is calling professional wrestling as opposed to sports entertainment.
Yeah, definitely. I think he had a nice little dig at the last wrestling show that he did, where he got to say, "It feels so nice to be able to say wrestler again."
Yeah. We have our words. They have their words, and they're come hell or high water going to stick with them.
Yeah.
Somebody who is an expert in psychology or psychiatry or one of those fields can explain to me how this company has made hundreds of millions of dollars selling professional wrestling while at the same time hating professional wrestling.
I know.
It's like it'd be fodder for like a thesis, for like a dissertation or something, for like somebody trying to get their doctorate in psychology. It's just to study this company and see how they've made so much money. The McMahons have made money beyond their wildest dreams selling professional wrestling while at the same time hating professional wrestling.
Honestly, like if there's one thing that I wish science had the ability to do, it would love it if after Vince finally does die, if we could like just pick through his thoughts and find out why it is that he has such anathema for the product that he makes millions of dollars off of.
Yeah.
And why he insists on making it something different than what it is. It doesn't make any sense. Hopefully by the time he dies, science will be able to figure it out so we can finally understand why Vince does what he does, because none of the rest of us do. I'm sure that there are plenty of people within the company who don't even understand why he does what he does. So,
Agreed.
So that's gonna do it for us.
Next week,
we got a whole lot
of 90 minutes. We did it.
Yeah. Only took us 7 episodes, but we got there.
90 minutes.
Join us next week for, as we just said, discussion of Payback, Wrestling Dontaku, War of the Worlds, and whatever else tickles our fancy between then and now. So, this has been Two Guys, One Sport.
Everybody.
Thank you for listening. Don't work yourselves into a shoot, and we will see you next week for episode 8. Have a good night.